So if you are a person who shares a lot of my values, wants to live off grid, doesn't want to play amplified music, except for exceptions, who wants to live with as little energy as possible, who wants to prepare for difficult times in the future, who wants to work with others well and work on our communication and our honesty, and they want to create businesses, and wants to invite people very carefully to live with them, as opposed to just having problems because you didn't filter people very well. If you're really into my bizarre trip and way of thinking, do contact me. There's a form available on the channel description. Maybe I'll link it in this video as well, because I do want to invite people either to live with me on my land and eventually own it, probably through nonprofits or trusts, and also people who could privately buy fields like this one and other pieces of property that I know around here that are just awesome. And we can evaluate it. I can make a list of ones available. I can find out who owns it and then kind of put some feelers out on the cost, the price, although I shouldn't be the one to do that, because if it's me, well, they'll both be happier to sell it to me because they know who I am, but the price might go up if I say I really want this piece of land, like the ones that are right next to me and stuff. But I don't know, that's a different matter. But ultimately, it'd be worth it to pay too much for a piece of land if it's a really awesome piece. And if I found 20 buyers of larger pieces of property that all wanted to create an intentional community there, and also were like me, fairly paranoid about who they invited, then I could help them do that. I could help them with that process. If we don't agree on values, then I won't help you. It's not because I hate you. You can do whatever the fuck you want, but I'm not going to help you do it near me. So, because I have kind of design rules about how we use land. I want to maximize views, maximize water capture, maximize microclimates for growing more types of things. I want to have waste systems in place so we don't produce any waste. In fact, we import waste. I have a whole culture that I want to have, and I guess I want people to be mostly compatible with that. There are certain groups, like certain kinds of cults, that I don't find good, and some of them have wanted to come take over my place, and I reject them because they're not compatible with my values. But in a sense, I would like almost a cult-like culture of chosen lifestyle that we all agree to, and people would still legally own their land. So how they handle that is their issue. I have the problem of I'm going to die, and I have no heirs. So I have to have somebody be a system in place for people to take it over after I die. So even if one person buys a property, they should have a succession plan for how they're going to develop it, and then how that's going to be owned by people after they die. And ultimately, I don't think there should be a one leader of a community, but instead a very well-written system, a set of social agreements, a set of roles that people fill, and that it's handled democratically. But like not a democracy in a sense, everybody's deciding everything all the time, but more like a republic where you have a base of law that is hard to change without a supermajority. And then a lot of checks and balances, and a lot more definition culturally than, for example, the United States is a republic, right? It's not a democracy, it's a republic. They're very different. And I don't think that they did a good enough job at setting a base, primarily of restrictions on the state, because the state's out of control in the USA. It does fucked up shit with money that damages people, and they shouldn't be able to make those kind of decisions. They shouldn't be able to fuck the people over entirely and make them impoverished. They shouldn't be able to start wars easily all over the world. They shouldn't be able to have an intelligence apparatus that spies on its own people and other people around the world, and in some cases assassinates people, or run stuff like MK Ultra, brainwashing program that was pretty evil, and they've done a lot of evil other shit. It's criminal activity. It's absolutely criminal activity on the part of the state. It's disgusting. So I think that intentional community should actually write down and specifically address many of the difficult issues we have and prohibit the fuck out of a bunch of things. And that's to help us be free, not to limit our freedom. It does limit our freedom, but mainly it limits the freedom of people who wish to do harm. So yeah, drop me a note on a forum if you think that we might have enough values in common and you might be a good neighbor, or if you want to live with me. But you gotta be pretty fucking amazing to live with me, and don't think you're gonna live with me for free. There may be jobs later if there's a whole economy developed. There could be internal jobs, but the ideal would be as if everybody's pulling money in from the outside and we're able to invest heavily into infrastructure, and we are profitable enough to then expand the community. We have a fund where we can build an entire new community, and we have a team to do it. There's a reason to have a bulldozer there. A shared bulldozer for continuing to develop eco towns that fit this awesome model where we copy it over and over, and we're recruiting people all the time very carefully, and they come and live in that community. And then you have communities that can support each other, and you have communities where the more people you have, the more we can spread our culture, develop it, have different subcultures within it. I think that's absolutely critical. I'm not trying to come up with the one true way of living, but set an infrastructure that allows for quite a bit of variety. So, well, that's it for me for now. Oh, there's another nice little piece of land down there. Not very big in terms of its cleared spot, but goodbye.